So Belal Muhammad is out of his fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov. First reported by yours truly. I I reported this. I'd got word of it, so I put it out there. And yeah, so Belal is out. As you can see, he says, caught a bone infection. My foot had to put a PIC line in my arm for IV antibiotics for the next 6 weeks with no physical activity. Allah's plan is the best plan. I'm sorry to everyone that were coming to see me. I'll be back soon, inshallah. And yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, people are saying, oh, he's ducking Shavkat, he's scared of Shavkat. Like, I don't think Belal Muhammad is scared of Shavkat. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, this guy literally fought Gilbert Burns on like a week's notice. He beat Leon Edwards. He beat Sean Brady, who's undefeated. Like, to say Belal Muhammad's scared is stupid. He's literally the UFC champion of the world. It's just a ridiculous statement to make. But he is out. He's out of the fight. Unfortunate. Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov would have been a cool fight. I feel bad for the people who bet for Shavkat Rakhmonov to end the year as champion. They're probably fucking punching at walls right now. Because there was a large amount of people who put like thousands of dollars on Shavkat Rakhmonov to end 2024 as the champion. But, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But I feel bad for Belal Muhammad. People are going to give him a lot of flack for this. But he was turning around real quick. Like, people got to show him some respect. He won the belt in like the end of July. And then was going to turn around 3.5 months later. You don't really see many champions turn around that quickly. Especially not in this modern era. Like, Leon Edwards took like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 months to defend his belt. Belal was going to defend it in 3.5 months. So people got to show Belal a bit more respect. People are going to shit on him for this. Actually, was it August, September, October, November? Okay, so it's maybe 4.5 months. Something like, it's still a lot more recent than, Leon Edwards would have turned around. But, Belal's out. So now what? What are we going to do for the main event? For UFC 310? There's a few options. I've heard a lot of rumours that, they wanted Alex Pereira to fight Ankalaev. That is something I had heard they wanted to do, but apparently that hasn't been properly offered. So I don't know if what the go with that is. They've both been teasing it somewhat about fighting, so I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but maybe Shavkat Rakhmonov stays on the card, and if he does stay on the card, Ian Gary has called him out, which I like it. It's a good fight. Ian Gary's been having trouble getting an opponent because apparently Colby Covington just won't fight him.
Big names, there's some cool matchups. There's Shavkat, 18-0, undefeated. I'd love to get my hands on him. I've trained him. I have nothing but respect for the guy, but I want to be the first guy to take his own. I know I can do it. That fight excites me so much. I've nothing but respect for the dude. It's purely out of, I don't want anyone else to beat him before me. He's 18-0, I'm 15-0. Let's go out there and put on a show and let's see who's really better.
So yeah, that's what he had to say. He posted that. This was after he beat MVP. Then he also posted an image here of him facing off with Shavkat. Obviously an edited image, is not real. I'm sure most people know that. But, that's cool. I like it. I like the call out. I like that he's willing to step up. I think that's the fight to make. Interim title. Why not? Just do an interim. The winner is obviously going to fight Belal next anyway, so might as well just put an interim title on there, make it 5. And 16-0, 18-0, I think it is. I think he put a. No, he didn't put it on there, but like Ian Gary is like 16-0, I believe. I'm just gonna double check. 15-0, I think he's 15-0, right? Yeah, he's 15-0. And then Shavkat is, I think he's the one who's 18-0. Yeah, 18-0, and he's 11-2 as an amateur. So very, very extensive record. Somebody I would have to go, but it would be a perfect fight. Winner gets Belal. And I think Ian Gary has a good shot in this fight. I do. I really do think that. Like, people act like Shavkat is this unstoppable force, but Ian Gary is a good striker, and I think if this fight were to stay standing, I think he could land a lot of shots on Shavkat. He doesn't have good head movement. I will mention this every time I break down a Shavkat Rakhmonov fight. He's got horrible defense. Very bad defense. I do think he would beat Ian Gary. Let me just say that, but I don't think this is as one-sided as people make it out to be. People act like Shavkat would literally just KO Ian Gary in a round. I don't believe that would be the case. I think Ian Gary would give him a good scrap. Maybe actually be very competitive. Land a lot of strikes on him. Put on a bit of a masterclass for a little bit on the feet. Before Shavkat would maybe rock Ian Gary, because Ian Gary does have a not the best chin. He doesn't recover that quickly either. And also, Shavkat probably is a much better grappler as well. Definitely is a much better grappler. Like Ian Gary got held down by MVP, so I think the grappling would be pretty one-sided for Shavkat. We haven't really seen Ian Gary versus many wrestlers, and the fact that MVP was one of the people to hold him down, the only person who had a top position, is a pretty bad look. But maybe Ian Gary just wasn't preparing for that. That is also a possibility, but I don't know. I think striking-wise, Ian Gary is a much better striker than Shavkat Rakhmonov. But on the ground, I just think Shavkat would beat the shit out of Ian Gary. But if Ian Gary takes this fight, he's got a lot of cojones. I know a lot of people make a lot of jokes about him, he's a cuck and all this stuff. But that would be a cool thing for him to step up. I think that'd be a BMF type thing. Oh, you go from getting a gritty old veteran in Colby Covington to going and just fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov. That's a badass move. At this point in their careers, Shavkat is a much, much tougher matchup for Ian Gary than Colby. Colby looked awful against Leon, and he's been out for a year. I don't know, Colby should probably retire if he's not going to fight Ian Gary. So I think this is a perfect fight. Ian Gary versus Shavkat. If Ian Gary wins, he's right at the top. He gets Belal Muhammad next. I would have liked to have seen JDM, Jack Della Maddalena versus Shavkat, but from what I've heard, I don't think that's very likely. It doesn't seem like Della will be ready, at least not in competent shape. So I hope that JDM just waits till Sydney, to fight. But yeah. In other news, I did put up a thing about Diego Lopez versus Volk. Apparently that's not true, but from what I've heard, it's just that the talks haven't begun yet. So I do think that fight is going to also happen for Sydney. But I would like to, if Ian Gary doesn't happen versus Shavkat, I would like to see them move Shavkat to the Sydney card. Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland main event, co-main event, JDM versus Shavkat, interim welterweight belt. Feature fight, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Why not? Why not? And then maybe Izzy versus Armavov. And then, Taito Ivasa versus Mick Parkin or something like that. That's perfect. That'd be a good card. But I don't know. I guess we see what happens. But that would make good. I know people are going to say, oh, you're fake news and all this stuff, but I've literally been talking to people. So many people are saying that Diego Lopez versus Alexander Volkanovski is the plan. So honestly, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Either I've been given a shit ton of misinformation, or there's some sort of misinformation campaign going around with people trying to I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is the UFC negotiation tactic. I'm not sure. But it's very strange to me. Maybe I'm not breaking Volk news anymore. It always seems like weird stuff comes out when you try and break Volk news. But obviously I was right about the Belal Muhammad stuff. I do have sources. I was correct about this. And yeah, one bit of misinformation, who knows? People might think I'm fake news or something like that. I don't know. I just wanted to clear the air about that. I still think, at the very least, I think Lopez versus Volkanovski will be offered. I think they will try and make that fight. If it happens or not, who knows? Volk will probably sit out, fight Ilya. That'd be a smart thing to do. But anyway, that's all I had to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video, share, subscribe if you ain't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Adios.